went through a period of my life where I got caught up in addiction, and that was a result of not being grounded in my culture. You know, when I was living in the South and working in the South, and I was away from everything. And that's what tears people apart. Individualism and capitalism, no sense of community. As a result, I lost myself. I totally lost myself. I was drinking heavy, and I was numbing a lot of my pain with drugs and anything that would kill the pain, right? But if I know where I come from, well, at least I know where I'm going. The one place where I know I really belong is when I come here. A few years ago, I started addressing my addiction and trying to figure out why I was doing that. I know a part of it was I was away from the land, and I was away from the food, and I was away from my family. The reason I really look forward to coming home every year is get to see my sisters that I haven't seen all year. I haven't seen my dad all year. I haven't seen my brother. And so coming out here for me is, it's my holiday, right? And it's my connection. It's my connection to my roots. If I didn't have this, I mean, I'd just be another brown-skinned person walking around town, don't know which way to go, you know? Don't know where I'm coming from, and I'll follow anybody after that. I have to work at my relationship with my dad right now. I just tuned out all those years that he was talking. I didn't want to hear it, so I just tuned it out.
Who's down? What did he say?
Maybe tonight, lots of guys. No holiday tomorrow.
I'm not the best, but I'll tell you. I try to tell my children, that's the way you do it. Eh? I could give them what little I know, but I am not living the way I used to live in the land. A long time ago, you hunt even when you're not hungry. You got to prepare when the hunting season is in its prime, eh? Because if you don't, then you suffer.
You're probably a mile off of that point right here. Some of them anyways, not all of them. Some are a little farther back, but right now it's close. I think we can go and look and try to get a beluga whale. A lot of times when we're out here, it's a very simple lifestyle. You make sure you have enough food on the table for the day at least, and then tomorrow maybe it's another day. I operate the boat most of the time. Dennis gets the beluga whale, the boys get the beluga whale. My father's always in the boat with us. He's not going to handle the harpoon anymore. He's more of an advisor now.
Oh, you went to town? Oh, okay, then we can still go then.
We weren't rich, we weren't poor, we had lots to eat anyway. You claimed a long time ago when you have lots to eat, you was okay. This is where I grew up with my grandparents and my mother. My dad died when I was just 8 years old. But I had good guidance from my grandparents from my mother's side.
People in general could learn a lot from coming up here, spending some time with an elder, seeing how we live, seeing the simplicity of our life.
I used to go with pack dogs, my grandfather. When we were supposed to go to this mountain, he told me we're going to camp, maybe other side or below it. Boy, we were there all day, so I was kind of tired, you know, when you were a young boy. He said, Joe, it's a long ways to that mountain, eh? He lit his pipe up and he never answered me for a little while. So he turned around and said, we'll get there because we're moving. The mountain is not moving. So I felt better, so I got that taught me a few things, eh?
Yeah, we got a little sponge going. Keep the bugs away.
Just leave it alone, then it's gonna work. That's why sometimes even if how fast you go, even if you go slower than the other guy, if you go into work, you're gonna get there anyway. Look at Dennis, you know, not too good right now. Maybe tomorrow he tried, he worked better. We used to work all the time. Call it just an everyday sked. If it's bad weather, we got lots of wood inside the old shack there, and we take a day off. Because as long as our dogs eat and they're not snowed in, we go check them out. And that was famous for sleeping, eh? Yeah, I sleep lots. And one way my grandfather used to say, if you sleep, you save food, eh? But that's not, you know, he's just joking, eh? When you're trapping, you don't know how far you go because you go for days. You don't say, I'm going to go home tomorrow. No, no, no. You have to explore.
He's not a very excitable guy. You can't, you know, if you make it home today, great. If you don't make it home today, you get home tomorrow or a couple of days later, well, that's okay too. Because out here you have to live with the elements.
That's my whole rope.
You gotta change this, you gotta take that whale over here.
It's kind of sad to see those elders in Inuvik with nothing to do, you know. They just kind of sit around and have coffee when really they belong out here. A lot of people, when it's their time, they say they want to come out here and end their days out here. That's what I'd like to do. I wouldn't want to be holed up somewhere. You know, he still likes to go out with us. I do whatever I can to get him out here, and Jerry does the same thing too. Jerry really helps a lot.
It's always good to have him in the boat. And it's good for the kids to watch their daddy in the boat, see how he operates.
Okay.
1982, my father was coming out here with my mother and my sisters and my brothers. And that was one of the first times that I really came back and started getting back to being reconnected to the land.
Mosquitoes not coming in now.
It was 1990 that Drew was born, our son. And when Drew was maybe 1 or 2 years old, we were coming right here to Baby Island. And he's been back every year. And it's good for him. It's good for those kids to learn that because they have to, because once our elders and that start leaving, who's going to be providing the muktak?
We didn't know it was going to change. It was such a relaxing life because we didn't know any better, and we thought that it was going to continue on to be the way it is. I didn't know it was going to change, but my grandfather knew it was going to change. It changed in his time too. Got inboard motors, he got gas engines, he's got gas lamps and gas stoves. All new to them, so why go backwards?
When I was growing up around the Delta, I did a lot of traveling with my dad, eh? That's where I learned a lot of the skills that I've got now. Even them swans up there,
Lots of flowers that even bud yet.
Yeah, lots.
That's the little bud look. Little bud yet. Make sure you know.
Yeah, sure. Looks like it might be broken, yeah.
No, when it's high water, it's pieces. When it's low water, you could walk across the mud. When it's high water, they break up.
Pretty low
It's
right now,
about
though,
five,
eh?
about 5 pieces.
That tide is pretty well out right now.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of work trying to teach us how to hunt beluga whales and how to live the lifestyle that he lived.
Phew, I missed him. Your turn.
Pretend you're getting a caribou.
No
You
polar
gotta
bear.
aim good.
Holy
Oh, you
smoke.
got it.
I got it.
Killer. Noah is just about big enough to go to Baby Island. Maybe next year. Hey, Noah.
Yeah.
You gonna go to Baby Island?
Are you big enough now?
No, not yet.
Not
Oh.
yet?
Maybe summertime, no.
No, Miss Moose hide is so expensive. Very expensive to sew. Moose hide alone is about $1,000, and you're lucky if you get maybe 12, 15 pairs out of it.
Pair of slippers?
Yeah. A good size hide.
Hmm.
Oh, these are beautiful. This is my grandmother that raised me. Her name was Myra Moses. And the woman beside her is another Myra. Myra was a popular name because my grandmother was a tiny little woman. They called her Myra Tzal, meaning little Myra. And this one, she was a little taller, so she was called Big Myra, Myra Tall. They're no longer with us anymore. There's a lot of history there in that picture. I was raised by my grandmother. So I stayed with them for a couple of years, and then they decided they wanted me to get an education, so they sent me to a Klavik, and I never did leave.
The English language took over, and English language had a lot of power. That's why the schools were coming in, residential schools were coming in, churches were very strong. Our grandparents were trying to tell us that if you go to school, it'll be good for you. You learn to read and write. I was in residential school for a year and a half, learned my ABCs and my arithmetic a little bit. But I wasn't eating well, and I had to go home when the muskrat season came out so I could help my grandparents. And I never did go back since then. The change bothered us, even us parents. I was going to take night school one time. You know what? I went to night school 2 nights in a row. When I came back, I got a daughter named Delma. She was grade 3 at that time. When I came home, I was going to do my homework with her. She said, Dad, you're doing the same grade 3 book I got in school. So I quit right there. The hell with this. Who am I? Knowing only grade 3 and my little daughter's already grade 3. I used to talk to my kids. I don't shout at them or anything, but I try to tell them, don't live my lifestyle because that's gone. My lifestyle's gone. You can't just go out on the land and make a living no more, no. We can't go back to the culture because that's bygone. And this is why young people have a lot of problems today. Their mind is on the land, but they don't know how to get there. Nobody, their parents are not interested anymore. Parents don't even talk to their kids anymore. They get somebody else to look after them, like foster homes and stuff like that. I used to go during the rat hunting season, take the whole family out, because they feel good, you know, because they do something out there. Something they don't have in the schoolyard, eh?
My dad was my hero. We went out hunting a lot, and he always took me out of school. And I loved that. I loved going out hunting. You know, you're a little kid, and you know you get to go out hunting, and he loved. You know, he just loved us so much, and I knew that he loved me.
Decided to go and get some more water. Run into a caribou.
A little more work
lucky.
than shopping.
Yeah.
Tastes better though.
Fresh meat is good, eh?
Young Inuit today, they go for holiday with their parents or something to the land or somewhere. Stay with them for a while and enjoy themselves. It relaxes them. It takes all the stress out of them. When they go back, they just like that, smart.
Okay, more, Dennis.
Because they're starting all over and they had a little bit of what they know best when they were small, eh? Because just like little Ottawa in the north. Yeah.
A great Canada, united from east to west and north to south.
I came to Inuvialuit for a summer job. My brother was a labor foreman. He said, you would work for him. Well, that's good. So I stayed and educate my kids. I didn't want to put my kids into the hostel because none of my business, but when they go to hostel, when they come home, they lose a lot of their ways that they know at home.
Everybody is saying, oh, okay, you know, they're going to build this new town, and there's going to be jobs and prosperity. We're going to have electricity, and we're going to drive cars, and we're going to watch TV and listen to the radio.
Right after riding season was over, we all came over with our 18, 20-foot canoes with our basic necessity, and we were able to live like that for a whole winter in a small tent. You know, you got involved in, of course, the church, the brownies, all the wherever the kids were, and somebody had to start the home and school.
I had to educate myself too. I had to learn to work, be on time and this kind of stuff. It's a system. A man, all of a sudden, he got a boss right there. Yeah. You go home for lunch, and next thing you know, it's time to go back. Show up. Got to show up in the morning. Oh, it was hard. Lots of times it was hard for me. Really hard, because all my mind was hunting seasons come round. All my mind is out on the land. I used to go to meetings with her and listen to all this, what's going to happen to the future of the young people today. The kids were just small then. We were talking about their future, what they're going to be. And it sounded simple as that, but it didn't work that way. Even though they got educated, they had to struggle in order to survive the new system.
The two younger ones really lost out a lot of family time, especially with me. That's a time I was really involved. So they spent a lot of time at home alone. And that's where maybe, he feels as if he has missed out, but you have to make a decision if you want to make changes for a majority of the people. You can't do it at home.
When I was about 16 years old, I started going out partying on weekends with my friends. And I developed a taste for alcohol, for liquor. Even though that my parents loved me, for whatever reason, I had low self-esteem. So the alcohol, took all of that away and made you feel good and everything, right? And my relationship with my family changed at that point. I blamed my parents for their shortcomings or for whatever. I found, you find reasons to blame people, and the easiest people to blame are your parents.
Go in.
Hello, boss.
Hello there. How you doing?
Good. Long time no see.
Yeah, good to see you. Hello, you all. Good to see you. Yeah. Yeah, it's been that time again. You gotta have a little muck again. Yeah. How's Willie?
Pretty good. We got one.
Oh, look to him and you don't say, you got mucked up. Lots of times a guy says, let's go have a drink. You know what? The real truth in it, let's go and get drunk. That's the truth right there. He try to pretend to be like a white man. He have one drink and he go. Let's go and have one drink. Bullshit. Go and get drunk and pop right out of your mind.
One drink, you must have one.
Yes, an experienced man. I'm an experienced man. I don't know how we didn't die or something. But it was a pleasure the white man implemented into us. He took a nail and he didn't drive it all the way home. He just left us half in, and we figured if we have a drink, the pain gonna go away.
Hopeless case I was one time, everybody gave me up for a hopeless case. I was a drug addict, drunk, street bump, and one day God delivered me from alcoholism, and today people ask me, how come you're different? I said, I made my choice to quit drinking and to live a good life.
At that time, a lot of people drank. It was just part of moving into the Western civilization. I went through a period of my life where I got caught up in addiction. There were people in my life who had the same problem. I started becoming prone to resentments. I got tired of living down south, too lonely. I missed the kids and I missed skidooing and
When we used to have problems when we were young, our grandparents used to tell us, oh, just forget it, just don't make a big issue out of it. Next thing you know, it's no more problem. You got a brand new start all over again. We got forgiven so many times as they work on us, you know. Lots of our old people. My grandfather used to say, don't try it again, it's not working good. So we try not to try it again. What he's trying to say is, don't do it again.
my mother saw what the disease was doing to her children, but she couldn't do anything about it. She put her resources instead into loving us. And my father did the same thing. He just put his energy into loving me just the way I was, right?
Oh, no man's land.
Yeah, for sure.
Me, if I raise my voice to my children, I feel a little guilty, because who am I, you know?
Yeah. I find myself paying more attention to him now. Like when he tells stories about the old days, you know, when he talks about dogs or schooners or his grandfather and stuff, there's so much information that I don't know. I just tuned out all those years that he was talking and telling me these things. I just tuned it all out. I didn't want to hear it, right? So I just tuned it out. So now, at this stage of his life, I find that I have to be more attentive.
You see, what happens to the world is, it's just like getting too many dogs. They can't get along anymore. That's what the world is coming to. They chew up their own mother, even the dogs, when they can't control him anymore. But if you have a good team of dogs, you never touch their mother. Never. Never. It's just same as families, eh? Some families say, my mom and dad are dumb, they don't know nothing. That really hurts when I hear that from young people about their own parents. Eh? Now, if the parents were no good, they don't know nothing, where the hell do they think they come from? It's a wage-earning world now. It came out in the 1950s. People start depending on wages to live. They seem to be better off than the guy working on the land, because he automatically get enough to buy what he needs. This one maybe?
Big, eh?
Big? I wouldn't work for nobody when everybody else was working. like school janitors and all this kind of stuff. Went right down to nothing. I just couldn't hack it anymore, so I ended up labor. My kids were in school. They got no time to learn their own mother tongue because we were all too busy trying to make a living. We had to go along with the trend. We had to go along with what's happening. We cannot fight it. I used to try to fight it, but I found out, no, it's not worth it. You have to go along with it because your kids are in it.
When we were growing up in school, we had to have these tests on who was the second Prime Minister of Canada and who was this and who was that. I had absolutely no interest in it. And I did very poorly in school because of that.
That's the thing they left out in the school system, is that they didn't have anything about the land. That's a big loss right there.
You watch TV and you see all these beautiful blondes and brunettes and redheads and all these guys, you know, driving nice cars, and you see this whole other culture on TV and in magazines. When you go south, you see this whole different culture, right? So I was always ashamed about where I come from and who I was and the color of my skin.
Those are really sharp now. Take both of them. Be good for it. And what is cut, good for cutting them. Education is a given culture to the Aboriginal people. You have to go through that pattern in order to get where you want to be today.
My brother Jerry joined the RCMP when he was 18 years old, and he was one of the few Inuit people at that time who had joined as regular members into the RCMP.
Okay, try that. All I was a policeman, and that was my life. It was good to come back and find out again where I was going to, because you have to have somewhere to go to all the time. I mean, you can't. It's hard to stay in the background. It's hard to. You always got to be moving forward, eh? I think that's the only way.
This Inuit land culture and stuff like that, it's a story now. Yeah, and it costs lots to go back to it.
Sounds like they got a whale at Gary Island, yeah. And they're just gonna go and do some work over there.
This must like we're canning, are you guys?
Right.
We're canning this. You gotta cut a little bit more down here because that's where there's the muscle.
Yeah, this is one of mine. I'll leave it here though. I know we forgot.
We're just towing the carcass out after it's out about a mile into the current, so that current will take it away.
Times change. We're in a fast world. I gotta go. I gotta make a phone call. I have to go to a meeting. I got nothing against it. It has to happen. We learned by doing at once upon a time. Now today, somebody else look after us. Somebody come along and said, I'll escort you because you're a little slow or something like that. Well, but what you going to do? As you get older, you're going to get slower, right? You don't go full gear no more. Simple as that. Lots of elders you could put away into senior homes, senior shelters, no more value. We're not used to staying in one place and just do nothing. Sure, you got brains, but where the hell are you going to use it? There's no place to use it. Myself, I fight that all the time.
I have to work at my relationship with my dad right now because I still don't forgive him. I'm still holding him accountable for his shortcomings, you know? And it's taken me a long time to undo the mess that I've created in my head.
If it wasn't for Dennis, I'd never do this thing. I'm doing it because Dennis gonna be kind of proud, you know. You gotta be proud of your father, whether you like it or not.
I created this disconnect between my parents and I, and my family and I, and my culture and I. I created it in my own mind. I created this disconnect, and I held them hostage, and I held my culture hostage, and I played these games with them, and I still do it.
The only way you could stabilize a guy's life is you have to forgive him, but don't do the same thing again. Try it another way where it would work better for everybody all around.
So it's good, everybody gets a little meal.
Clean it up again.
Lots of families stay strong together. They don't criticize each other and say you're no good or, you know. That's the kind of pattern I grew up in.
I was building a cabin a couple of years ago for my dad in the Delta. And I'd get up in the morning and I'd have maybe some rolled oats, some hot cereal, and a cup of coffee and some toast and some bacon. And 2 hours later, I was hungry again. Then I would come inside and I would have some of the whale dried meat that's been soaked in whale oil. And I eat a few strips of that. And it's so rich and it's so condensed. And I could go for hours after that. I just have so much energy.
Grab that saw. Where's
There's
that
a
big...
new blade in it.
Oh, yeah. Where's that big backbone you had? Remember that big backbone?
In there. It's in there. I think it's in there, yeah. I remember researchers were coming in when we were little boys. They used to come down and study bugs and molding geese and flowers and stuff like that. After I started reading and starting to find out a little bit, I start getting interested in these guys come down to research.
Here, just take that in there. Make some nice moose steaks.
I used to get tired of these researchers. They were forever researching us, but they never lived like us, huh? Being silent is very bad. It makes a person a different person than what he used to be. Especially when you change from the culture that you grew up with. 100 years ago, it was the white man coming in. He needed education from us guys. We were somebody one time when we were helping a white man get all kinds of little knowledge. I used to like telling guys, this is the way I trap it. You know, it worked sometimes. I didn't say I was good at it, but you know.
Did you see Mike Krutko's book when it came out?
Oh, I got that one a long time
Yeah,
ago.
you got that one?
I know.
And there was another
I know
one.
Mike Cook. I met Parliament Wood. I read a lot of his books, and some of them are way off. He's got such a good imagination. He even used people as they said. These people said that they never did. He never even met the people that he's writing about. Poor Inuit himself. They don't know what he's talking about. Who is a snow walker? We walk in snow all our lives, you know. I try my hardest to keep my kids and their kids together, because that's my life. If I don't do that, I might as well don't talk to nobody and just sit in the corner, and you could take my picture for 5 cents.
Here, give me a hug. See you next few days, okay?
When they come out, I just need to tell them what not to do. A lot of times they get so excited they start doing things backwards, or make a mess when they shouldn't be. What my grandfather used to do is let the ones that never done it before learn. He's an old dog on it himself, so he pick on younger people and got to learn. That's the only way I learned a little bit all my life. I could have learned a heck of a lot more, but I was kind of lazy once in a while. Depending on my grandfather. Yeah, but he liked me, eh? He said, you gotta come with me. When my dad died, and they put him on top of the big schooner and just kept him there in the big wooden coffin all winter. But it didn't bother us because our grandparents said he will arise somewhere else. I believe that because I was old enough to believe anything. Ministers lots of times they used to tell me about the Lord and God and all that. But I wish you'd just show me, you know. It would be kind of nice to know it's there.
I always remember these old timers sitting around the fire like that late at night and telling stories. They were always telling stories. And a lot of times they talk in Inuvialuit. Half the time I couldn't understand them. But when they laughed, it don't matter whether you understand them or you don't understand them, you laugh with them.
To have an elder makes you feel good because you could say anything to an elder because he already went through it. It doesn't hurt him anymore. But I used to like the pidgin English, the way the old timers used to talk. You know, they very real characters. You know, they didn't act. That's just the way they were. And this is the kind of people I used to like. They teach you a lot of things. These are the kind of things I gather that I like to pass on to my children or whoever. They pass it on to Dennis. For a young kid from born and raised up here, he write pretty good stuff.
Whenever an elder leaves this world, you know, they take a big part of it with them, eh? They take a huge part of life with them.
It's very easy to make something if you just look at see what it looks like and how it works. That's the only way you learn. Not too long.
I'll try to learn as much more as I can in the next number of years, you know, because it's always a learning experience. This one might be shorter.
You gotta find material, you have to find ropes, you have to learn how to have a harpoon head, how to balance it. Takes a lifetime. I'm still learning. Like if I don't do this right, I could just get dragged away or my leg get caught or something.
I know someday my children or someone will, you know, they'll want to know where my dad's grandfather came from. And what did he do? How did he end up here? How did we end up here? How did we end up at Baby Island? Someone's gonna want information from me someday. And if I don't have it, you know, I've broken the link, eh? And I don't want to do that.
When I was sleeping last night, I heard a dog chain going around and around, and all you guys were sleeping. I tried to wake you up. I told Eric, get up. He wouldn't get up, and I pushed him. And when he got up, his eyes were wide open, but he was still sleeping. And so I told Drew, I said, Drew, get up. There's some kind of animal outside. And no one would get up. And I got really scared, and I started crying. And all you kids were all...
I'm not my dad, right? I'm not gonna have the same stories, or I'm not gonna be the same person that he is, but I just hope to grow old gracefully and, you know, be accepting and just try to be as forgiving that he's been in his life.
And I jabbed it right into his heart.
Okay.
I'm gonna go home with Dennis.
Okay.
And talk to her. I told her what to give me.
He just, you know, for whatever reason, he just accepts everybody. And, you know, I'm envious of him. He treats everybody that he meets with the same respect that he gave the last guy, you know? And so, therefore, he has many, many friends. He'll just tease you and just to laugh and loosen things up. Eh? And people love that because he makes you feel special. A lot of people that have been marginalized in society, by society, because of their race, color, creed, or beliefs, or whatever. These are people that my dad has befriended because he doesn't see any color. You know, he sees no borders, right? He just sees you as a person, and an interesting person, you know. There's a lot of taxi drivers from the Middle East in Inuvialuit, or from the Slovakian countries in Europe. And they're all they regard my dad as a very, very close friend, one of their closest friends in Inuvialuit, and he knows them all. And they just love when he gets in their cab, and they give him free rides. They always pick him up and give him a ride. If they see him walking, they'll pull over and they say, "Hey, Victor, get in, you old dog." And he'll say, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, you eaten any camel bones lately?" Or, you know, something like that. Or other people would be offended if you said that to them. But to them, it's just Victor, you know? He's just teasing me, he's just having fun with me, and he's my friend, you know?
I'm not smart, I just got some pretty good memory, I think. I survived, and that's it. I'm not ashamed to tell what happened to me, because it only happened one time. You don't go backtrack. You don't rewind in my life. You don't rewind. Only fast forward.